The Duke's Mayo Bowl may have a terrible name, but at least it's providing us with a pretty good matchup as Maryland takes on number 23 NC State. And this is a very interesting matchup, guys. Maryland comes into this game at 7-5, looking for their first 8-win season since 2010. NC State had sky-high expectations coming into the year, fell well short of those, 8-4, got hit by the injury bug, of course, but they have a chance to redeem themselves to finish the year on a high by clinching another 9-win season under Dave Doeren. So we are here to break down everything you need to know for this game, guys, between the Terrapins and the Wolfpack, and of course share our official prediction for who wins the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We have our holiday special over there where $29.99 gets you every single college football bowl game spread pick and every single NFL playoff game spread pick as well. So we're offering a lot of football content at you guys at one very low price, and we're also guaranteeing big time winning. So go sign up for those today, guys. Become a part of our GE Nation. Win big with us. And again, take advantage of some really, really good spread picks. So let's just jump into this game, guys. Let's just dive into it, dissect it. We'll start with Maryland, who comes into the game averaging 29.2 points per game, nearly 260 passing yards per game, and 147 on the ground. Obviously, this is a Maryland team that, for the most part, wants to throw the ball. They want to air it out with Talia Tagovailoa, who's thrown for over 2,700 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Now, when they are clicking, when Maryland is clicking offensively, they are very, very hard to stop. 9 different players have at least 100 reception yards, but the weird thing about that is no wide receiver has more than 500. They don't have a single wide receiver with over 500 reception yards. Deshaun Jones leads the way with 478 yards and 4 touchdowns. Raheem Jarrett right behind him with 471 yards and 3 touchdowns. No receiver over 500 rushing yards. There are 9 different players that have at least 100. So they do a great job of spreading the ball, not really one go-to receiver. And I like that a lot about Maryland. They can spread it out and that anybody can make the play at any given time. They have Roman Hemby at running back, 924 yards, 10 touchdowns on the year. He kind of gives Talia Tagovailoa some extra help in that backfield. You know, this is again, I think a pass-first offense here, but the running game is something that opponents cannot ignore. You know they want to air it out. You have to respect the pass, but you definitely have to respect the run as well. Really, the only thing that's bad for Maryland offensively is their offensive line. The Terrapins have given up 39 sacks on the year, and that's something that they're going to be very mindful of as they go up against a really good NC State defense that we'll talk about shortly. Take a look at NC State's offense, guys. It was set to be really, really good, and they struggled and fell well short of that. And you can blame it on injuries. Of course, losing Devin Leary early in the year is not ideal. But even with Devin Leary, they weren't clicking offensively like we thought that they would. But Devin Leary gets hurt. He now enters his name into the transfer portal. Their offensive coordinator, Tim Beck, has left to become the head coach at Coastal Carolina. So the offense right now is kind of in shambles. The Wolfpack played 4 different quarterbacks in 2022. Ben Finley got the start in the last 2 games. The freshman threw for 472 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in those 2 games. He's got a great arm. The future's very, very bright for him. But obviously that was not ideal for NC State back in the preseason. Certainly not ideal to have him playing now this late in the year. But he has some weapons, right? Thayer Thomas is there, 588 yards, 4 touchdowns on the year. Jordan Houston is there at running back, 530 yards, but 0 touchdowns. So really intriguing there. The running back has 0 touchdowns. The wide receivers for Maryland, no one's eclipsed 500 reception yards. It's just an interesting dynamic on both offenses here. But the Wolfpack averaging just 25.3 points per game, a little over 220 passing yards per game, and it's 121 rushing yards per game. The edge offensively certainly goes to Maryland. They are more balanced and more explosive than NC State, who again has never really figured it out offensively this year, and certainly, of course, has been dealing with a lot of injuries. You take a look at the defenses, we'll give the edge to NC State there, right? The Wolfpack, that's their strength, 19.4 points per game. That's all they're allowing. They're giving up those 223 passing yards per game and 103 rushing yards per game. So really the defensive averages are almost the same as the offensive averages for NC State. It's actually kind of interesting. But they are very, very stingy across the board, guys. That is what's gotten them to 8-4. That is what's been able to overcome the offensive struggles. It's been the defense. The run game can't go anywhere against this wall of Wolfpacks, guys. They just can't do it. 24 sacks on the year for NC State. As we mentioned, Maryland has given up 39, so the pass rush there and the pressure on Tagovailoa will be very interesting here. Obviously, the run game will be an issue for Maryland because I don't think they're going to be able to get much going against this Wolfpack defense. But you take a little bit deeper here. You look a little bit deeper at the numbers from NC State. We're going to take a look at their losses. They've allowed 30 points one time, over 30 points or at least 30 points one time this year, and that was in a 10-point loss to Clemson earlier in the year. It's kind of a bend but don't break situation for Dave Doeren and the Wolfpack. But you look at some of the games they lost. Against Louisville, they gave up 153 passing yards, 192 on the ground. Against Boston College, an upset loss there. They gave up 330 passing yards but hardly allowed any rushing yards. I believe it was -1, actually. 210 passing yards to Syracuse, along with 179 rushing yards. 209 passing yards to Clemson, 145 rushing yards. And those are the 4 losses that NC State has had and the numbers that they gave up in those 4 games. So it's kind of inconsistent. One game they're really good against the pass, another game they're really good against the run, but they can't really seem to put the two together. And in this game against Maryland, you really want to be good against the pass more than anything. You got to respect the Terrapins' run game, but if I'm choosing one thing to be really good at defensively, it's stopping the pass and pressuring the quarterback. Maryland defensively, the question is, can they take advantage defensively of a bad NC State offense? They're giving up just 24.1 points per game, just 220 passing yards per game, and just 142 on the ground. The Terrapins held half of their opponents, 6 of the 12 teams that they played, to 24 points or less. So in 6 games, they held their opponents to 24 points or less. And you take a look at some of the numbers, though, against their losses, some of the better teams that they've played. Just like we did with NC State here, they've given up 241 passing yards to Ohio State to go with 160 rushing yards. 164 passing against Penn State, 249 rushing. 360 passing yards allowed to Purdue, a team that really never runs the ball. 220 passing yards to Michigan, along with 243 rushing yards. 278 rushing yards to Wisconsin. Just like NC State, wildly inconsistent. There are some games where they play relatively well against the pass, and there are some games where they play really poorly against the run. And traditionally in these games, as you can see, with the exception of Purdue, it's been the run defense that's kind of been the kryptonite for Maryland. They've got to find a way to slow that down. With NC State reeling at quarterback, they clearly trust Ben Finley. He got them to win in the season finale against North Carolina. It was big, but NC State will probably want to run the ball a little bit more here with a bruiser like Jordan Houston. Maryland has to find a way to stop that and force the young quarterback to deliver in a big-time bowl game. That's what I'm doing if I'm Mike Locksley and Maryland. So what's going to happen, guys, in the Duke's Mayo Bowl? Which coach is going to get covered in Mayo, right? We saw Shane Beamer last year for South Carolina get a whole jug of mayonnaise just dumped on him. Who's it going to be this time around? Is it going to be Dave Doeren, or is it going to be Mike Locksley? I'm going to put my money on Mike Locksley. I am leaning Maryland in this game. Both teams are inconsistent. You really don't know what to expect from them week in and week out. One day the offense might show up. Next week they might be non-existent. One day the defense might be great. The next week it might be inconsistent or non-existent. You just don't know what to expect. But I like Maryland a little bit more. I like their offensive consistency a lot more than NC State. And I think their defense can make just enough plays to get the job done for the Terrapins. Give me Maryland to win the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Back-to-back bowl victories for Mike Locksley at Maryland. And the Terrapins will clinch an 8-win season for the first time since 2010. If that doesn't get you excited, if you're a Terrapin fan, then genuinely, I don't know what will. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on the gridironexpert.com. Those holiday specials over there, $29.99, get you all of our postseason picks, every college football bowl game, every NFL playoff game, right there at your disposal for one low price. Make sure you go check it out. The link for that, again, down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.